Hello, America. Welcome to the water cooler. I'm Ron Burgundy. My producer says we have a show, so let's hit it. Good evening, Trojan Vision. I'm Ron Burgundy. Today's top story: the Giants won the World Series for the third time in 5 years, alongside Chris Giant Fan Hogerson and Darian Beckham Nurian.
Excuse me, that's Madison Bumgarner to you, please. Madison Bumgarner.
Madison Bumgarner. So I will start with you, young man. The Giants won the World Series. How did it happen?
Yes, I've won my third title.
Wait, you've won your third
I'm Madison
World Series?
Bumgarner. I've been in the World Series since I was 21 years old. And yes, I have the lowest ERA in World Series history. Arguably the greatest performance in World Series history by any pitcher in the history of baseball. It's pretty amazing, guys. The team of destiny, they just couldn't beat that fastball, Madison Bumgarner.
And I mean, I hate to give you credit, Mr. Bumgarner, but absolutely, you put the team on your back in this World Series. One of the, like you said, one of the greatest performances I've seen from a pitcher ever since Clayton Kershaw during the regular season. Unfortunately, he was not in the postseason, but just to see the Giants.
How crazy was that final sequence, though, with the single turning into the triple?
That was crazy.
A lot of people have started to consider with how well Madison Bumgarner was playing on the mound. I know you never want to get your last out at home plate. Is there any part of you guys that would have considered sending Alex Gordon home for what would have been maybe potentially one of the craziest finishes in World Series history?
I had a pet once named Molasses. He was quite a speedster on the base paths. I probably would have sent him too. I would have sent Gordon all day long.
What about you, Bex?
Well, remember Benny from The Sandlot? He stole a lot of home bases. Back
Absolutely.
In his day. I would have sent Alex Gordon home. I was thinking about it too because none of those guys are going to be able to hit off Bumgarner the way he was
The
playing.
only run I will say that the Royals were able to get off myself was a solo home run from Salvador Perez, who recorded the final out of the game. So I think it's an interesting call. I would have really liked to see what would have happened in the World Series, the biggest play of the game, at home plate, especially with that new rule. Who knows what they would have called if he was blocking the plate? Could have been interesting.
Especially with Buster Posey.
Exactly, the Buster Posey rule of
sorts.
sorts.
History
Absolutely.
of, getting mauled to the plate.
Well, what poetic justice there for my man Bumgarner. One guy we do know for sure on the move, Joe Maddon, leaving the Tampa Bay Rays last week. But the Cubs, those old dirty Cubs, they fired their coach this morning, which means an opening could be coming. Gentlemen, I bring it to you. Should the Cubs hire Maddon?
Absolutely. I mean, Joe Maddon is really one of the best managers in the league. He's really as good as they come. We saw what he did in Tampa Bay. He puts his players in a position to win. He's been said to have a National League-type mind. It's funny because in 2003, we saw Theo Epstein in Boston almost go out and hire him. He ended up hiring Terry Francona. Maddon went to the Devils. And the Red Sox broke, their, hundreds of year streak. Now, the Cubs riding a 107-year drought, looking at Theo Epstein going to hire Maddon. So that's definitely something to take into consideration. Also, this Cubs team could be right around the corner from, becoming an elite team in the league. They do have a lot of prospects, very high-level prospects. They went through the team tank process.
Yes.
And, they got those guys. So this could be a really good time for Maddon to step into that role in the Cubs and hopefully break that 107-year drought.
Yeah, it's really interesting you mentioned it, Maddon having potentially a National League mind. It feels like the Cubs have been just right around the corner for 100 years or so now.
Well,
but
that's so true.
I mean, this seems like a natural fit. Mr. Burgundy, I have to give you your props. You called it last week, potentially.
Well, I'm a San Diego fan, and my Padres haven't won in a long time. I'll tell you that much.
It seems like you have a knack for knowing the right position at the right time, but I think this would be a no-brainer hire for Joe Maddon, absolutely.
And for the Cubs as well. We hear David TeJesus, who played for the Rays, played for Maddon, come out and say he's a player's manager.
But we don't want to speculate too much.
Exactly.
We'll give Maddon his time.
Well, boys, one guy I can certainly cheer for, and all his autographs like mine. Todd Gurley, the running back out of Georgia. Quite a stallion in the backfield. So Georgia might be coming back now for the university, but Florida State also deals with some suspensions. My question for you, who deals with suspensions better? Georgia with Mark Richt or the boys in FSU?
Well, I don't like exactly the way that Georgia has handled the Gurley case. You would have liked to see Mark Richt back up Gurley a little bit more, like we saw Jimbo Fisher back up Jameis Winston. 4 games, at least we're going to see a little bit more of Gurley, and at least Georgia's not out of the race yet.
They have won some games without him, though.
They have won, and maybe they've gotten a little bit better.
Let's remember, this is an NCAA imposed suspension. This is not a Georgia sanction that's going on here. And for
Bumgarner didn't go to college. He doesn't know what the NCAA is.
It's okay. I'm from Britain. But really here, we have the hypocrisy of the NCAA once again all blossoming, right into our hands. Gurley and Georgia, their athletic department, they were honest, okay? And they went out and he got suspended for 4 games. Whereas in Jameis Winston's case, they denied it. They denied everything. The crab legs, the autographs, the sexual
As we've learned from
assault
USC's case, nothing good happens when you admit the truth.
Cam Newton, Johnny Manziel, and then Winston, all those guys combined, all that's gone on surrounding them off the field, and half the
all of
game
this is exactly why I skipped the whole college thing. It wasn't really for me.
Well, boys, one team we can certainly talk about is our Trojans, the team I love with my heart. Being a graduate of that fine university, me, Ron Burgundy, the Trojans facing the Washington State Cougars in Pullman, Washington. It's worse than a trash dump up there. Boys, how do we expect our Trojans to fare?
Give the ball to Buck. Give the ball to good old Buck Allen, who leads the Pac-12 in rushing this season. We could expect rainy conditions in Pullman. Steve Sarkisian used to play in Washington. We used to see him hand the ball to Bishop Sankey for like 1,000 times a game. So expect Buck Allen and Justin Davis, to get the heavy load early on. We are going to see Connor Halliday on the other side of the ball doing the absolute opposite, throwing the ball in the air.
I think it's going to be a fantastic matchup of 2 of the most prolific passers in college football right now, Cody Kessler, Connor Halliday. The Cougars are maybe going to run 1 or 2 running plays.
Maybe.
Like you said, especially with those rainy conditions, you'd like to see us really be able to establish that running game. We really struggled with that last week in that tough Utah game.
It could be a dream game for the USC secondary. They're going to be put in the position. They're going to be put in a tough position. They're going to get a lot of plays, a lot of reps. So maybe they can make some big explosive plays, get some interceptions, and really gain some confidence as we move on to the latter end half of the season.
Yeah, this is a big game to establish how we're going to finish this year. We've lost 3 games, but this is no time to be demotivated. This is a team that embarrassed us on our home field last season. We got to get back at them this week.
Gosh,
Revenge.
I remember back in the early 90s when the Cougs were all the talk of the town up there in Pullman. They actually beat the Trojans to the Rose Bowl a few years back. Way back
the Carson Palmer days as
that
well.
May happen again. You never know for sure.
But USC needs
now,
this
one
game.
man who's still resentful about the Trojans is old coach Ed Orgeron, the man of cookies like my heart. Next thing you know, he says he wants to come back to USC as his dream job, the place where it's close to home as opposed to Ole Miss and other opportunities. So, boys, if you were the Trojans, would you consider bringing back Orgeron as an assistant in the recruiting scale or as the head coach?
Well, sometimes it feels like we never should have let him leave. We had him.
Still love him.
I'm not exactly sure about the Sarkisian regime right now. I don't want to give up.
No,
but I'm certainly not impressed with what I've seen so far. It doesn't seem like Sark has a great idea of what he's doing, especially down the stretch. We've been taking crazy chances, whereas, we saw Orgeron take that chance against Stanford, but it wasn't like he was going crazy with having Cody Kessler punt in the 4th quarter. Maybe we made the wrong call.
I mean, maybe. We're going to really have to see.
Gentlemen, I have breaking news. Oh, here it is. The Cubs have hired the man Joe Madden.
Well, there you go.
That we just talked about. So Monday, mark your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. Monday, Madden is in.
Welcome to the National League, Mr. Madden.
Back to
I own
Orgeron.
this place.
Good hire for the Cubs. Going back to Coach O, he won his last 6 out of 8 games as head coach of the Trojans. Resigned. We saw a really sad way to see him go out because we all loved Coach O. The players loved Coach O. Talked about players, taking a bullet for Coach O.
If USC beats UCLA, do you think he's our coach right now today?
Oh,
Mr.
absolutely,
Burgundy?
Absolutely.
As an alumnus,
I am a fan of Orgeron. Mr. Burgundy is. Mr. Budrovich not so fast, but Mr. Burgundy loves his Orgeron.
And I still love his cameo in The Blind Side.
Ooh, absolutely.
SJ.
Fantastic.
I'm still the best character actor there is in this newsroom. Anyway, back to our next
missed the
topic
cheer
here.
too,
LeBron
Coach.
James back in Cleveland. His team lost last night, but what an arrival for that young town, thirsty for a championship. Gentlemen, following a disappointing performance from the Cavaliers, are you worried about LeBron James shooting 1 for 9 in the first half?
Absolutely not. It's the first game of the NBA season, and as we all know, you can kind of sleepwalk through the regular season, especially in the Eastern Conference.
LeBron is used to sleepwalking through the regular season.
Exactly. Yeah, I think I was surprised. I certainly was. But what seemed more encouraging to me was that it really seemed like Kevin Love fit in perfectly. I mean, you could see how he could already potentially be better than
And we saw the way
Chris
that
Bosh.
him and Kyrie kind of connected.
I like the way Kyrie played
early
too.
on. So even though LeBron's LeBron. LeBron's going to get his points. So it's optimistic to see Kyrie and Kevin Love coming together early on in the season, kind of adapting, because those were the questions going into the season. However, I really love that LeBron James commercial that Nike put on.
Ooh, yeah,
If
where
you guys
the
remember.
whole team, everybody's
The
gathering in the
city
huddle.
of Cleveland, LeBron's
Cleveland is so
homecoming.
big that LeBron James can outstretch his arms and reach the whole town.
Yeah, I want to go to Cleveland. I didn't know you could go on the court and be a part of the huddle. I mean, that seems like a great
Mind
place to watch a
blown.
game.
Mind blown.
But one
This is
game
Burgundy.
we need to talk about here is Los Angeles Clippers. I believe they're a team in Los Angeles.
An old wooden ship, wouldn't you say?
That's what they say. Anyway, the Clippers won last night over the injured and battered Oklahoma City Thunder
Injured and battered would be an understatement.
in a tough matchup last night. So more importantly, fellas, the Thunder played with like 5 healthy players and almost won the game. Are you worried about the Clippers?
Again, first game of the season, we've entered the Steve Ballmer era. I was pretty surprised that the game was competitive with Westbrook only playing 9
Well,
minutes,
that's
getting
because
2
Perry
points.
Jones went off and dropped 32
Well,
points.
and I mean, that's
an testament to the Clippers needing to improve their defense. Chris Paul said post-game, they
And
got their points.
I've always felt that the Clippers' great weakness is that wing play. They've never had a dominant wing player, a guy who can guard and who can score and guard on both ends of the floor. That's why you see a guy like Perry Jones out of nowhere be able to score 32 points on these guys. I feel like this is a situation where maybe they need to make a trade. Maybe they need to look for a wing defender to help this team.
Right, because you're not going to look to J.J. Redick or Jamal Crawford to be your perimeter defender.
But it's certainly not time to panic yet. We've just gotten started. This is one of the best teams in Western Conference.
Hey,
Let's see
remember
him play
though,
a few more games.
the Clippers have Michael Olowokandi on their team. He is quite the special player for the Clippers.
One of the best number 1 draft picks ever.
One of the
besides
best.
Danny Manning.
Oh, the old San Diego
Oh, the
Clippers.
old Greg Oden,
The Buffalo Braves.
Some of the greats.
That was part of my best teams of the day. Now, one injury that happened in that game, and poor kid slipping on the banana on the court. Russell Westbrook hurt his wrist by slipping on a banana. Impressive stuff. Anyway, he's now hurt for about 6 to 8 weeks, they say, according to these news reports. Anyway, do you think this will hurt the Thunder's chances with no Westbrook?
The Thunder are in trouble, and I think they realize that because we're talking about replacing the irreplaceable. We're replacing the team's 2 best players in Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. Now, who's going to step up for this Thunder team? And Scott Brooks is searching. We saw Perry Jones step up last night. I think now they're going to look into guys like Reggie Jackson, who was not in the game. He did not play last night. Or even Sebastian Telfair, who was out of the league last year.
Yeah, it's interesting, the connections to the Blazers here. Sorry, but Sebastian Telfair, of course, a draft pick, number 10 for the Portland Trail Blazers. But this certainly opens the door for the Blazers to try to win the Thunder, try to win the Northwest. And the Thunder, it doesn't seem like, I think they'll still be in the playoffs. But
No,
do you think they could fall to as low as a 6 or an 8
The Thunder
seed?
are still going to be elite, but now they're going to
Elite? They're going to be one of the top 4 teams.
Can someone explain to me how the Thunder are in the Northwest?
That is one of the many questions. I mean, as well as the Denver Nuggets are in the Northwest Conference.
Well, we're talking
it
about
doesn't
the
make a whole lot of
actual
sense.
thunder that comes like lightning.
Yes,
Oh,
that
down to the ground.
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
Like the Bolts.
Impressive stuff.
But nonetheless, they're going to be elite. But they're now kicking into survival mode without Durant, without Westbrook. How are these next, 10, 20 games going to...
And it seems like they're going to have to ride Reggie Jackson, as you mentioned, but he's hurt too. So it seems like they're going to lose a lot of basketball games. Maybe Steven Adams can step
trouble,
up.
and I'm always paralleling...
The Kiwi from down under.
Well, we did see Steven Adams get some good rebounds. We saw the defensive presence of this team really step up in that fourth quarter.
You still got the Nick Collisons, the Kendrick Perkins.
You don't want to lean on those for offense.
They're going to help out on defense, but where's the team's points going to come from?
I don't know. It's got to be they don't have a scorer really left except for, I guess, Perry Jones.
Kind of reminds me of the Los Angeles Lakers.
You know what the Thunder need? A good, solid rookie to help their cause. We're talking about some of the young guns in the National Basketball Association starting off there. We know Julius Randle got hurt, but some of the younger rookies, guys, who have impressed you in terms of rookie performances?
Well, there hasn't been a lot to celebrate so far, but it looks like Doug McDermott's found a nice little role.
Dougie
McBuckets, yes, has found a nice little role on this Bulls team.
Right.
He had 12 points, 5 for 9 shooting, 5 rebounds, able to chip in with 2 assists as well. That's exactly what they need from him, is to just find the little things he can do to help offensively. He's another scorer that's really going to help out Derrick Rose. You got to expect the Bulls to be great this year.
Doug McDermott's in a great position down there in Chicago, especially with a team with championship aspirations.
going back to the bigger guys, the Andrew Wiggins, the Nerlens Noels, the Jabari Parkers, they're only a year out of playing really competitive, like, high school basketball. So there's going to be an adjustment period for these guys to get their land legs. They've not played that very well.
Land legs reminds me of old David Beckham coming to the Galaxy.
Yeah, I think Jabari Parker, he only had 8 points. He had a poor shooting night, but he had a nice transition bucket. I think these guys, with the weeks to come, are really going to improve a lot. And especially Jabari is going to have all the shots he wants in Milwaukee this season. He would certainly be my favorite to win the Rookie of the Year.
Okay, so one thing I do want to bring up before we go to break. We talked about last week teams you think could sneak into the playoffs. I want to find teams you think are starting off on the right foot and could be dominant teams this season.
Absolutely. For me, it's got to be the New Orleans Pelicans. We saw Anthony Davis in his first game be absolutely dominant, as we said. And he's my pick early on to be this league's MVP this year. Just putting in really aggressive in the paint, getting boards. Also, he's got players around him. They brought in Omer Asik.
He was 1 block short of a triple-double.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast down low. And the addition of Asik allows him to do that. So they have that presence on the interior, as well as you got guys like Tyreek Evans, Ryan Anderson, and Eric Bledsoe on the perimeter to kind of complement that. So this is a very good New Orleans Pelicans team. We're seeing that early on. And I would not be surprised if they cracked the top 4 in a very, very tough Western Conference.
Again, another new team to crack the top 4. The Trailblazers in Portland have never won a Northwest Division title since the Northwest Division became a thing. So
since the Northwest Passage was opened.
Yes, since Lewis and Clark back in the 1800s. But I think that with this injury to the Thunder, it really opens the door for them to win the Northwest. And I think they have an opportunity based on losses from another team, but they look very strong in their opener as well. I think they're going to be in the top 4 for the first time in a long time.
But you could say that they had struggles with a Kevin Durant-less Thunder team.
Struggles, but I mean, they won. They
ended up winning the game, but
they went
into
the fourth quarter down 4, yes, but they won the game handily by 16 points. They really took over down the stretch when it really counted. And I think because of the injury, now that we're not going to see Westbrook for another 4 to 6 weeks, that's why there's my surprise. So I don't know how far they can go in the playoffs.
It's not a surprise, though, because this is what this
Well, fellas, hold on here. We have some fantastic public service announcements, or PSAs, as the folks in the business call them, coming up here on the Water Cooler. Then our office pool segment coming up next.
Is fascinating. I had no idea that's why they called it ice cream. Well, stay tuned for the rest of our interview. Welcome back to Trojan Vision.
Trojan Vision? I love Trojan Vision!
We're about to continue our fascinating interview with the famous cat hairstylist, Joan Duffy. Please, tell me, how did you get started in your cat hairstyling business? It wasn't easy.
Welcome back, everyone. Time for the best pool party in sport. It's the Office Pool. I'm Ron Burgundy here with my trusted staff. We're going to start off with some Pac-12 action. It's a trio of football games. We'll begin with Utah and Arizona State. Both teams beat the Trojans. Both teams are pretty good.
I got to go with Utah. I really like the way they stood us up last week. Travis Wilson, I still think he looks like Tim Riggins, and that's a quarterback I can believe in. Booker's a great running back. I think they're one of the most all-around teams in college football, the way they have a strong defense, a strong offense, and round it out with the special teams. I think Arizona State is going to get beat at home. I think Utah's the better squad.
I don't see Utah going on the road, especially after the emotional win they had against USC. We saw their fans rushing the field, even though they were technically the favorite team in that. I don't see the Sun Devils getting upset at home. We've seen Mike Bersavici all year, really.
Or 3 games, but yes.
Well, I believe Taylor Kelly was playing in the last game. Do we know who's starting this week?
I believe it is
Bergavici.
Is it Bergavici?
Bergavici, yeah.
Bergavici is going to be starting this game.
Either one. They're both really talented.
They're both, dual threat quarterbacks.
But one thing we must talk about, though, those rivals across the desert, the Arizona Wildcats taking on the UCLA Bruins, who have struggled with 2 losses. Who do you got, UCLA or U of A?
I see, we've battled back and forth, me and Mr. Burgundy or Mr. Budrovich, on Brett Hundley all year. He's very inconsistent.
Burgundy's a huge Hundley fan.
And this is one of those weeks where I think Hundley is going to go off. He's going to surprise everybody. He's going to remind everybody why he's so talented, why he is considered an NFL talent. I think they're actually going to be able to handle Arizona in this game. I think it's going to be Brett Hundley's best game of the year.
More importantly, UCLA does not know how to protect Brett Hundley, and Arizona is going to get to him and sack him, as we've seen all year long. And Arizona, very prolific running attack with Jones Grigsby. I see Arizona winning this game.
I just like those Arizona wide receivers. They are quite the stallions in the field, if you know what I mean. They can run around and make those catches. But one more game in the Pac-12 for you. Stanford and Oregon. Who do you got, guys? Stanford, the beasts of the Northwest.
You got to love Marcus Mariota. He really is having another potential Heisman Trophy year. Still hasn't thrown an interception. I got Oregon.
I believe he did throw his first in the last game.
Oh, he did.
But, he's
the researchers at Trojan Vision will be fired
Someone
for
will
that
be
one.
Fired.
He's had an absolutely unreal year. Just like you said, I think I like Oregon in this one. We're really going to see if Oregon really does have a Stanford problem. Stanford's been a little down this year. It seems like Oregon's on fire.
But it seems like Oregon finally, maybe, let's hope so, that they can finally answer that problem.
But remember, they haven't won on the road in Palo Alto in a long time, so it's going to be a tough game. But I just think Mariota, everything's coming together.
And
this is
they
his year.
know what's coming. They're going to
This seems like a Heisman statement game to me.
Well, I agree with those sentiments as well. Now, one game we do have to talk about here is the Cowboys and the Cardinals. America's former team and America's Cinderella team, I think. Anyway, we have the Cardinals and Cowboys. Tony Romo possibly in, possibly out, just like my great tie today. Fellows, who do you got in this game, Romo or the Cardinals?
If Romo is in, I do have the Cowboys winning this game. They have surprised us all year because they've played really well, because we don't expect that from the Cowboys anymore. But DeMarco Murray, been lights out all year. We talked about a few weeks ago, their offensive line has been great. Jason Witten at the tight end position, who's gotten really involved in their offense. And, because the O-line has protected Romo, he's been allowed to move the ball down the field to guys like Terrence Jones and Des Bryant. So I have the Cowboys winning this game solely because I think their offense will outmatch the Arizona defense.
I agree with everything you just said. Is it just amazing to me? But can you believe the Arizona Cardinals are 6-1 right now? That's just crazy. I think things are going to work their way back to the mean of sorts, and I think they, like you just said, they're due for a loss. I think whether it's Brandon Weeden or Tony Romo starting for the Cowboys, I like them at home. I like them in Jerry's world. I love Carson Palmer. As much as I love Carson Palmer, his dead nerves in his shoulder always makes for a shaky situation. I just think they come back to earth a little bit, and Cowboys are able to rebound after that tough, crazy loss to the Redskins last week.
I'm just going to disagree with you 100% and say follow that Washington script and see how they defeated the Cowboys. Pass rush, bad Cowboys running game for one night. I think the Cardinals do much the same and win that one. We now move forward to our final memos, and it all starts with the beer-chugging celebrator, which is Madison Bumgarner, the best pitcher in the playoffs. Mad Bum, show us your drinking skills. Hit the tape. It's some good stuff.
He's a frat star.
He went from 7 beers in the championship, but here's the new stuff.
Oh, wow.
Look, that's a majestic shot.
I was pretty
Our
excited.
photography team is on the money.
Drink safely, kids.
As long as you don't drive, that's all I have to say about that one.
I only ride a horse, so that
World
works
Series
for me.
MVP. He can do whatever he wants.
So one thing we do have to talk about is this delicious, scrumptious $75 burger they serve at the Charlotte Hornets basketball games, because Michael Jordan knows a thing or two about a great grub. But your thoughts on this delicious burger?
I'd like to have one. I'd really like to check it out. I'd like to hear from friends how it is. It looks amazing. Seems like the perfect way to enjoy a Charlotte Hornets basketball game. They had a nice win in the first game. I wonder if anybody tried one out. Had a great time.
Ushering
I think Al Jefferson did. Have you seen his weight this offseason?
Ooh, Al Jefferson.
picked it
Ooh,
up.
taking a shot at Big Al.
ushering in a new era of Charlotte Hornets basketball.
Charlotte Hornets.
This burger is a great metaphor for how well they're going to do this
I love
year.
that honeycomb court, I must say. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to look at.
And I'm sure Michael Jordan enjoys it.
Michael Jordan was jumping up, fist bumping in that first game. He was right down there on the front, on the court, on the sidelines.
Yeah, this Charlotte Hornets team, watch out. We know the Eastern Conference is not very good. And we saw them, sneak in the playoffs last year. Al Jefferson playing well.
What do you think of Lance
Sting their way
Stevenson on
to a
that
3
team?
seed?
Oh, he fits in perfectly.
He could be
Yeah.
a stinger for that organization.
Yeah. He's able to shoot, dribble, and pass. He's a triple threat. He led the league in
I think a
triple
lot of
doubles last
basketball
year.
players can shoot, dribble.
Well,
and
hey, but he
pass.
does it better than anybody else. He led the league in triple doubles last season. Yes, and he can blow in your ear on defense.
This building is air conditioned, so we don't need wind to help us out. But thank you. To
course.
add to the newsroom
course, Mr.
element.
Burgundy.
One thing we must also talk about is old Bill Belichick and his wonderful costume. No question mark on the screen. And we were going to talk about this. Ron Burgundy knows what he wants, and he wants Bill Belichick. Check out this Halloween outfit from Bill.
My Golex version here. He actually has the September Belichick and the late October-November Belichick.
But look at
with the hoodie
Bill
on
with
and
a nice
off.
collared shirt there.
But Belichick said that he didn't cut the sleeves long enough.
Greeny's looking big with those shoulder pads on.
Tom Brady, man.
But as you
quarterback
see,
that's down.
Belichick also, he was tough on Golick because he said he didn't cut the sweatshirt sleeves high enough. So, a nice bit of personality.
I think
to
we
see
could
from
argue that
Belichick
Bill
for once.
Belichick has the best personality in all of sports.
I'm glad you guys listened to that audio because I heard it was great stuff. So my news team tells me back in the station. One thing we must now transition over to is our man, Hoagie?
Yes, it's
Who's
Hoagie's
Hoagie?
Hero of the Week.
Anyway, Hoagie's Hero of the Week.
Hoagie's Hero of the Week. It's Matt Stafford. He had a great use of his bye week. Let's roll the video.
That was a little quick for an intro.
Well, I mean, I could talk about it. Matt Stafford, look at him. You see, he's living in this Pepsi cave, as you can see, walking through the grocery store. Look, it's Matt Stafford. Everybody wants to go in a secret cave. Everybody likes to have a secret hiding place.
Grabbing some Pepsi? Hey, what's going on?
How you doing?
Just hanging out in the can cave, sort of like a man cave, but filled with cans.
Oh, yeah.
I'll let you in if you can guess the number on the back of my shirt.
Number 9, baby.
All right, come on in, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Fumble. Happens, right? Happens to the best of us. You look like you got some hands, man.
Y'all can try me out. If y'all
Okay,
want.
let's get a route then. Oh, man, just taking out the sausages. Do you know the password?
Lions rule.
Come on in, bro. True fan. Come on in. Hey, what's happening? Can you slide over a little bit? Cheerleaders are here. Sorry, man. Hey,
What's happening?
see you next time, man. All right, walk it off.
Are you Matt Stafford?
Yeah. You want to hang out in the can cave?
Oh, yeah.
What's up, man? Pump some music, give him a little game time feel. Get a little circle going around our guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and there you have it. Hoagie's Hero of the Week. I love secret hiding places. One of my personal favorites. Oh, no!
Wait.
Has Beckham flopped?
Hold on.
Referee! I didn't touch him.
Yellow card. That's a booking. That's a booking.
I didn't touch
you
him.
cannot flop on Ron Burgundy's
Oh, wow.
news
Thank you.
desk.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Burgundy.
will drink to one fantastic game of football alongside David Beckham and Madison Bumgarner. Ron Burgundy here speaking. Good night, news
Happy
team.
Halloween, folks.
Stay classy, Los Angeles.
You're watching Trojan Vision. For more of your favorite shows, check us out at trojanvision.com and like us on Facebook.